Yes, guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. This is episode 93, and I know we've said we're not going to do that, but
we need to stop saying that.
I feel like it's my general intro. It's just what I go to, and I quite like it because we'll know when we get to 100, and also like I want to be that kind of podcast that, you know, when we get to like 200 or 250, we don't just like go, oh, we didn't know. Yeah. Kind of want to know. Actually, Sam's here, everyone. Sam, say hello.
Hello.
I don't know if you'd hear that because it's far from the mic, but he said hello. What I think we should start doing, let me know your thoughts. Mm-hmm. You know, on Spotify, we should have the number of the episode at the start on the title.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Sam, you up for that? Done. Okay, so that's what's going to happen, guys, and then maybe I'll stop saying what it is because we'll know from the Spotify. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. We have got Sam here. So Sam's basically filming for both Reece and my YouTube.
And Instagram.
Reels and stuff as well. Basically, it's kind of like a rest day, but it's a rest afternoon because Sam came at like 1 o'clock. I picked him up from the train station.
And we can't afford him for the whole day.
We can't afford him for the whole day.
No.
But also the morning for me and Reece would be very boring to watch. Like we do the exact same thing.
People say they want to see that, but people really
imagine
wouldn't.
That. Imagine people just seeing us sat doing check-ins for 4 hours.
Yeah, I genuinely would be like, so right, Sam, I'm literally just getting you.
You can't speak.
The only difference is I'm doing my cardio and I'm going to be sweaty, and then I'm going to go for a walk, and then I'm going to work, and that's it. But I've had people say, "Oh yeah, it'd be awesome to see." No, it's not. It's not awesome to see. It's boring for other people.
Yeah, I think it's one of those like people want to see what your day-to-day life looks like because they see you training, they see you do the podcast, but like what else? Like I want to see what else you do. But I've done like a video before of like a day in the life, and it's like people like it.
Yeah,
but it's so boring, and I'm literally trying
to watch. It's not boring for us to do, but it's boring to watch.
Yeah, but I mean, also it's boring to film because I'm like, what do you want me to talk about? Like, this is what I'm eating again, and it's the same. Like,
same meal as the other day.
It's like there's not much really to talk about. But either way, Sam's filming in the afternoon.
Yes,
we're doing the podcast now. Let's just crack on. Give me an update.
We'll go through what we're actually doing. So we had physio.
Hey, what people are going to see.
Yeah, but we can say it on the podcast.
Don't spoil it. Spoiling the video.
Spoiling our usual Thursday that we do every Thursday.
No, we don't go to physio every Thursday.
Yeah, so basically we had physio. I got my hair cut, so then I went to physio. Finn went straight to physio. We then pretty much came to the studio. Finn had a setup to do. And then I think you had a meal when you got here, didn't you? So it's going to be a combination of like podcast, a few meals, a few steps. We're doing like in between like.
So excited.
It's just like, it sounds so like we say this and it's funny because like I said it's just the same stuff.
So mundane. It's just the same stuff we do on a rest day, but people might want to see it.
And weirdly enough, I really enjoy my rest days. I really enjoy my Thursdays.
I like my Thursdays.
Yeah, Thursdays are good. So pretty much, guys.
Any excuse to be out of the gym.
Yeah, not trained. Training.
Hate being in the gym. Yeah. Get in, get out.
Yeah, get in, get out. Thursdays come around. I'm like,
thank God I don't have to train.
I don't train today. But no, current update.
Give us an update of what you've been doing the last couple of days.
Yeah, so I was in Manchester Tuesday night with Josh Jenkins, my co-coach. It's weird saying like co-coach friend, like so I was with Josh. So we went to watch. Josh is a Man City. I don't think he's a season ticket holder, but his dad's like a member, so they get access to like
one of 7.
Yeah, one of 7 members at Man City. So they get access to some the actual bigger games. So Josh got me a ticket for Bayern Munich versus Man City. So, and to be fair, like usually whenever I've gone to games with Josh, we just head back afterwards. And obviously with me being in the trenches of prep, and also the fact that I wouldn't get back to like 1 a.m. and I thought I don't want to ruin my sleep. Why don't we just make a day or two out of it? So I booked a nice Airbnb. It was like 20-30 minutes away from the Etihad, which was quite cool. So we trained at the Iron Jungle, EP Iron Jungle, aka Elite Physiques in Stockport. Wicked gym, really good gym. We trained there for lower on Tuesday, so we left at like just in the like late morning. Got there, trained legs, really good session, and then watched the game. Game was pretty good. Did you watch the highlights?
The highlights?
Yeah, highlights were good. The highlights made the game look better. It was quite an edgy sort of cagey game. You see 3-0 and you think, oh yeah, Man City have just walked it, but it was quite an edgy game.
No, it didn't look like they walked.
Yeah, but like it was a weird 3-0. Usually you go, they're just
good result.
Yeah, it was a really good result for City. So and it was quite nice. Like whenever I've gone to football, I actually really enjoy watching games where there's no pressure. Like when you support a team, you go into it and you're like, I hope they win, yeah. And it's almost like you don't get to enjoy it. But I bet
you wanted City to win though. When you're there, you're in the crowd, like it's an English team.
Potentially. When it was PSG, I went to see PSG v Man City. I saw Mbappe knee slide in front of me, and I was like, I wanted PSG to win because Clen and Mbappe. I thought that was quite cool. But yeah, anyway, enough about football. Went to see that. Then we
Beth's turned off. I know.
Yeah, Beth's turned off. Sorry to people that aren't interested in football. And then pretty much we headed back to the Airbnb. Woke up Wednesday. Went to a pure gym that was a few minutes away. Cardio, all that sort of jazz. And then it was a case where we trained again at Elite Physique's gym. We did pull and delts, and it was quite a nice day. I said to Josh, like, it would have been actually quite good to have had another night there Wednesday, because when you're there just for a football match, you don't get to really, like, not saying like we chilled out.
Go to Canal Street.
Yeah, we didn't get to go to Canal Street, which if you're in Manchester, guys, trust me, go to Canal Street. I was actually telling Josh about Canal Street.
Yeah. While you were there.
Yeah, I was saying, oh mate, I've heard it's really good. It was like 10:30. I was like, we could probably go there. Hopefully people know what Canal Street is. Nothing against Canal Street. Me and Finn, big advocates of Canal Street.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was a good day or two. It was more so a sense of, like, you don't realise, especially when you're prepping and you're at, like, the latter end, like, just every single thing. I was like, I need my salt, I need this, I need that. And granted, you can get stuff when you're there, but I must have, like, packed and checked everything. I had, like, a checklist of MyFitnessPal, everything I needed. And I told myself multiple times, don't forget your food scales. Like, food scales, imperative. And for some reason, I just forgot them. So I had to go buy some from Dunelm, which was just
what did it say? You had, like, 3 different...
Yeah, so I had a bit of a night. The way there, my intro had, like, leaked a little bit, so I was like, great. My protein, my whey protein had, like, just, like, spilled a little bit, and I was like, this is just a bit of an unfortunate day. And it was one of those sort of, like, you know, you can just tell, like, some things have gone wrong. So I went to a Dunelm and picked up a pair of scales, and I got in the car, and I just thought to myself, it would just be my luck that I'd get back and they won't work. Yeah. So I opened them in the car and they didn't work. And I was like, that's weird.
You don't need to put batteries in, or...
It was one of those pull, you know, you like...
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fair enough. Clearly, I went back in. Hey, these don't work. Can I get another pair? Got another pair. Same again. And I was like, okay, weird. Can I pay for I bought, like, there was like 3 options. There was one for like 30 quid, one for 20, and then one for 15. So I got the one that was 20 because it looked a bit better than the 15. And I was like, can I just buy the one that's £30? And so I paid £10 extra, and finally that one worked. But I went through, I think 2 ones for £20, and neither of them worked. But I could tell, I opened them and I, like, shook them, and they just sounded dodgy. And it was like, it's quite funny because if the day was fine, I would have. Yeah, I just had a weird feel, and it would have shafted me, because literally it would have been, I needed to make my next meal to go to the game, and I wouldn't have had time to come back, and it would have been a right ball ache. So luckily, I was quite lucky that I checked, because when would you ever? You would never check, but I checked in the car because I just had a really weird feeling. So yeah, that was that. But other than that, it's been a pretty, like, good few days. Currently 4.5 weeks till the, like, qualifying 2 bro show, 3.5 weeks out from the warm-up show. Pretty good, like, really happy with the visual. We were saying earlier after the physio, I'm guessing Sam will probably get parts of this, but we did, like, a little mini in-person checking because I hadn't seen Finn for a few days, and, like, it's more so a sense where, like, pretty close condition wise, still a little bit to come off, but with 3 and a bit weeks, like, it's just a case of coasting really, and just kind of pulling away when appropriate. There's still, like I said, a little bit to still come off, which is going to be the case at this point, but at the same time, like, I'm running that fine line between flattening out, which kind of, you said, like, my midsection, my chest loses a bit of fullness, and then my midsection gets, like...
I think that's what I always notice. Like,
yeah.
I think probably as well, that's because it's one of your less developed areas.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So when it's full, it's like, oh, it actually looks pretty good. When it's flat, it's like, okay, your midsection looks a little bit washed out. Yeah. I think that's when, like, usually after the second day of refeed, your midsection looks good.
Yeah, I agree. And then if anything, I also think that makes, like, my back look worse, because it's like, it's almost all that kind of, there's not that pressure against the skin when it comes to kind of, like, musculature. Yeah. So fullness is one of those sort of things where, like, you can look noticeably leaner just based off fullness.
So that's kind of think where you are right now. Yeah. Like, I don't want to say, oh, the work's been done, because it hasn't, but the hard work's been done. Like, you're not digging anymore. It's not like, oh shit, we need to push. Like, no. Keep doing what you're doing. Ultimately, even if you were to just, let's say, fill up every 5 days between now and then, the days that you're not filling up, your food's still low enough to be in a decent deficit. You probably pull off another 1, maybe maximum 2 kilos. Yeah. But you'll then be able to fill up more and look better for it. Like, you're in that nice spot at the end of a prep. I know it's not really the end. It's not like even first show hasn't been, but you know what I mean? It's the end of the hard part where it's like, oh, I've done the hard work. I'm pretty much there. Now it's like I always said to clients, like saying to clients last year, like, this is the best bit. This is the most enjoyable bit. And, like, this was when people start panicking and stressing. And it's like, you've already done all the hard work. Like,
Yeah.
just enjoy this part. This is the bit where you get to eat a bit more food.
Yeah.
This is the bit where you look a bit better every day. This is the bit where you're posing a bit more because you're wanting to see how you look between each meal. Like, that's the best bit.
This is, in my opinion, this is actually when you're prepping.
That's when
The
you.
start
That's
is
what
at
you
the
remember as well.
The start is a diet where you're just losing body fat.
Yeah.
It's literally a case of like, if I was to say to you at 12 weeks out, oh, I'm flat, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not. Yeah, you might be flat,
Yeah.
but you've got body fat to pull off. It's not. It's literally a case of, right, you've got body fat to pull off. At this point, it's very much a case of prepping, where it's day-to-day
Actually
manipulations.
getting you into the best
Yeah,
spot.
day-to-day tweaks, day-to-day manipulations, trainings being regulated based off how you feel, cardio. To be fair, cardio is staying the same. There's no real changes or anything like that. And like, if anything, at this point, like, this is, I think, when a lot of people, like you said, overstress, overanalyze the things they don't need to worry about. Like right now for me,
Like who they're competing against.
yeah, like right now for me, it's literally a case of knowing, okay, I've probably realistically got 1 kilo to maybe 1.5 kilos worth still to pull off. I'd say that's maybe 2, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. My rate of loss has been about 1.5 kilos a week still, even with the refeeds. So for that's, if anything, could be slowed down. So that's the reason why we're going to be refeeding a little bit more frequently. It was originally every 7 to 9 days. Now it's going to probably be every 5-ish days, depending on how things are. I said earlier, I don't really want to be going off body weight as a direct metric based off the fact that, like, I look sharper and tighter today and my body weight's pretty similar to what it was 3 days ago. Granted, my routine's been a little bit different being in
You
Manchester.
look better at, so what, you were 98.7 this morning?
99.7.
99.7.
Yeah.
So you'd look better at 100.5 than
Yeah.
you would at 98.5.
Yeah, 100%.
Based on fullness.
Yeah.
You'd be leaner at 98.5, but because you'd be very flat, you look worse.
Yeah, so it's a case now of like almost not discarding body weight, still using it as a metric and wanting to see, let's say, maybe an all-time new low, but I'm not going to chase, like, for example, the refeed. If I'm not going to make a tweak to training down on train day food, if I'm 90, let's say if I'm 99 kilos come Sunday, I'm going to refeed. If I'm 99.4 kilos, I'm still probably going to refeed. If I was 98 kilos tomorrow, I'm going to refeed probably tomorrow. Like, it's going to be a case where I'll utilize the data when appropriate, but it's not where I need to be like, right, I need to get to a certain weight, because I can just look at the visual and think, right, I've not seen, like when I posed post-workout on Wednesday, I instantly looked at myself and I was like, right, this is the leanest I've probably ever been. It's the sharpest I've been, but I'm also flattening out. And today's a low day, low non-training day. It's my first day back in routine. I'd imagine body weight will probably drop tomorrow. If it does, cool, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm not going to stress out and go, okay, I need to make changes.
I think like
it's in a good spot, you know?
That's what I say to clients a lot of the time, is that like body weight is a good measurement and it's a good guide as to sort of giving us an indication of where we're at and where we're going. But when you start obsessing over it and setting targets from it, like, I have to get down to this by this point, or I have to do this by this point, it's like that's when you start putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, start stressing, and you stop looking at the actual look and you start looking at the scale. And it's like,
and I think, if I'm honest, I did that a bit too much probably last time, where it was like, I think you
need to do it up to a certain point.
I agree. And then I think it's a case of almost like, if you were to say to me now, don't weigh yourself for the rest of the prep, I would still want to. But I think
you'd still be able to come in and look mint.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think if anything, like I'm not going to take much data from body weight at this point, especially as well. We've got to realise with enhancement, like just based on the fact my training's still really positive, that's going to drive the look. Like 3 weeks of having androgens at pretty much peak dose for this prep, that's going to result in a better visual look regardless. So that's going to play in a role. And then also, if we think about things, so for example, your himbine, growth hormone, they're going to be slowly pulled out. Your himbine's going out from 2.5 weeks out from the first show. So that's a week, 6 days from now. Yeah, a week today. So just that alone, that's going to drop off sub-Q water. Growth hormone's going to be pulled out like 4 to 6 days, depending from that, or slowly titrated down. And these are things that we can utilize to leverage fat loss, but then also as well, they're going to be holding some water retentive purposes. So things like that. And then likewise, your stack design. Like, let's say if I was to throw in something like Winstrol, that's going to, again, promote a completely, not different look, but again, it's something that's going to potentially play a role. That's not to say Winstrol's going in. It's just more so me just kind of throwing that out there. Because it's on deck. It's on hand.
Got it ready.
Yeah, I got it ready. I got it ready
to
deploy.
We were just saying that in terms of body weight. Like, I think a lot of the time people fall into the trap the other way around. And I think you did that last year because...
Year before, bro.
2 years ago. Yeah. You were the same body weight for like however many weeks throughout the prep, and you were like, but I'm getting leaner. And I was like, but you're not going to compete at this weight. No. And you were like, I know, but I'm getting leaner. It's like, you are getting leaner, but like, and it's the same with people even just in like a general diet, or like, you know, for example, like somebody who's like, oh, I want to go on holiday, so I want to get leaner for holiday. And then like 2 weeks in, they'll look leaner, but they'll be the same weight. And you'll go,
could you not say that's
good.
Same with food? Like someone will get down to like, let's say 400 carb, and they'll go, yeah, but I want to drop lower than this. Like that, and then but it's like, but then you ask them, but your food's going to get lower than this.
Yeah, it's
so
similar kind of
yeah,
thing.
like it's a similar sort of thought process, and it's like I think there's going to be times where like being attached to body weight is like something you want to pay attention to. You always want to pay attention to body weight. You always want, but like the visual look towards the end is the most important thing. And like I said, when it comes to food, you'll have someone who goes, oh, I don't really like the thought of starting a prep at X amount of carbs. They might go, well, I was at 900 peak off season. So you're telling me I'm like, I said to Josh, Josh is at 850 carb on training days. And he was asking me like, what do you reckon my starting prep carbs will be? I was like 550. And he was like, 400. Like, high. Yeah, he was like 400 off. I was like, honestly, mate, I said that. 300 off. Yeah, 300 off, sorry. Prep. Can't think. Yeah, and I said to him, I was like 300 off. I was like, yeah, sound. I said to him, that's probably the highest. I reckon it might be 500. It might be 475. Yeah.
I was like, as well, like you probably have to pull that down within a week or two as well.
Yeah. And he was almost surprised. I was like, well,
that'll get him back down to like maintenance.
Yeah, is it going to get lower? When you're so above a calorie set point, you can get away with it. And again, it's the same. For example, when it comes, and this is the caveat to it. You spin it around. For where I'm at right now, I'm refeeding. So let's say my last 2 refeeds, I ran pretty close to 500 carb on a rest day, dropped weight. So we both know that we need to push up rest day food when it comes to the next refeed. And then I've ran 750 carb and I gained 1.5 kilos. So that's pretty much objective. Like I have to have like 1,200 to 1,300 carbs. I lose weight the first day if it's a low day. If it's a rest day.
Low high day.
Low high day. God, that's confusing. And then likewise, I gain weight the following day on that second day where glycogen stores are going to be a little bit fuller. I'm going to obviously be having a high amount of food due to food volume and likewise total calories from a train day, and body weight goes up objectively by about 1.5 kilos. So if we were to assess, let's say, the data based off that, that's going to give us, I say, a better sort of understanding for how that can be implied. But in reality, when it comes to, let's say, other sort of situations, we can always manipulate food, and it's like it's only going to help us when it comes to giving us data and understanding how things are. And again, like if we were to have a look, I'm rambling on at this point, mate, so carry on. My brain's gone blank. Literally, I was talking. I was like, well, I don't even know where I started. What was I talking? I was talking about. I don't even know.
No, I want in terms of the body weight thing.
Yeah.
So
I was talking about body weight, and then I was like, I was on a really good point, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't think you were. I think you were talking about food. I know what you're saying in terms of like people will go, oh shit, I'm pulling off X amount of carbs, like. Yeah. What we spoke about before, I don't want to use too much too soon, but it's like you're not going to finish prep on 500 carbs on training days. Like you're going to have to pull more off.
When I'm back to a baseline, because then I drop to a baseline, and because I'm already in a deficit by quite a significant amount, my body is going to be pretty responsive. So I don't need to continue to dig by making changes off my, like let's say my baseline food, because my baseline food's here and my maintenance point's here. So if your maintenance point is here and you start your prep already here because you pulled down, you're still above your maintenance point. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, like people will go, oh, like, pull away 100 carbs. Like let's say you're gaining a pound or 2 pounds a week. You pull away 100 carbs, like you're still going to gain a pound, probably 2 pounds a week. Like you've got to make a significant change. Yeah. But yeah, in regards to the whole body weight sort of measurement thing, I think when it becomes a target, it becomes more of an issue.
Yeah.
And especially with lifestyle clients as well, because I think they get so obsessed with it and almost like overwhelmed by it that they're expecting a certain number every morning.
Yeah, and they wake up and they see it and they're like, wow. Yeah. And if they don't, it's like, what?
They like start their day on the back foot and they're beating themselves up because they've not seen that half a pound come off or whatever. That I expected to see 190 and it said 191. It's like, yeah, but that's life. Like ultimately, there's so many things that dictate your body weight. Like, yes, you are in control of the majority of them, but still, like, what I think people don't understand is that like. You could be doing everything just perfectly. You could be doing everything right. You could be doing your cardio, doing your steps, tracking your food well. You've done everything right. You got a good night's sleep. You ate at the same time. That doesn't mean you've earned the right to just drop weight. Like, not in one day. Like, you're not going to just go, oh, but I did everything right yesterday.
No.
Like, yeah, fucking well done. Good for you. Like, do it again and again and again and again. And then in 2 weeks' time, you'll realise that, oh, shit, it is working and I'm 5 pounds down.
Yeah.
Even though I was stressed that I did it for 1 or 2 days and I didn't see anything. Like that's what most people struggle with is they'll do it for a day or two and go, oh, not seen it out yet. It's obviously not working. It's like, what do you mean it's not working? Like you probably would have gained a pound or two if you'd have done what you were doing previously.
And how many times would you have seen like, and this has happened to me in my prep, like I'll look at my body weight and I'll go, I don't really feel like I'm dropping. Like I feel you almost get attenuated towards like, you don't think, because it's something that's like not an all-time new low. Like when I weighed myself this morning, I was like, oh, I feel like I've been in the 99s. I feel like I've been 100s. I've been around the 100 marker now for like a good, like, feels like 2-3 weeks. And I looked at my data and I'm like, I'm 1.5 kilos down from last week. I'm 2 kilos down from 10 days ago. And that's with 2 refeeds. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But because it's not a new low, it's almost that mental challenge of like, okay, I'm still objectively dropping.
And also, it's not even just that it's a new low. Like, it's that it's such small differences. Like, if you saw a new low of 0.1 kilos, you're like,
you're not.
You probably don't even know it's a new low. You probably go, oh, actually, when you log it in, you go, oh, that's a new low. You probably don't even realise. Like, I don't even realise when it's a new low for me because it's so close to what it was the day before or 2 days before. Like, it's like, if I reel off my body weight for probably the last few days, I think it was 188.5 this morning, 188 the day before, 188.75 the day before, 189.25, 188.75. Like, it looks as though nothing's happening. Yeah. But then, like Reece was saying, when you track it in, like when I'm looking at my averages, I was 2.5 pounds down last week, even though it feels like I'm pretty much seeing the same data on the scale every morning. So don't worry about what it says every morning. Like, track it and log it in, and then people go, oh well, I just won't weigh in then. And it's like, oh, that's fine if you don't want to do that, but usually what that then leads to is a lack of accountability because you're not weighing yourself. You're going, oh well, it doesn't matter because I'm not weighing myself. And then what do you know? You're not weighing your food, and then you're not holding yourself accountable. You're overeating. You're missing your cardio, all because you've not then got that data point. It doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody needs to weigh themselves. I have clients that don't want to weigh themselves and they still make loads of progress regardless of the phase, but it's helpful.
Yes.
But then again, like we've just been saying, there's a lot of cons to it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's quite a good conversation.
Yeah,
there's actually, in my book that I'm reading, it's called Good Heart's Law.
You're reading a book?
Yeah, mate, I've started reading in bed like an old man.
Okay.
So I'm still reading that Atomic Habits book. I'm nearly at the end of it.
Okay, how many pages do you read? Do you do 10 minutes?
I do 5 pages a night.
How long does that take?
5 minutes.
Okay. Page a minute?
Probably, mate, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I can read, you know.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so fair enough. So come on, tell us. Book club.
So no, I was just literally thinking then because it kind of like relates to the conversation. So there's a law it was saying about it. It's quite good, the book, to be fair. Like, obviously, a lot of the stuff I already do, but I would definitely recommend it to people who don't have any habits or any routine.
Who's it written by?
James something.
Okay, James something, and what's the book
People
called?
will know it, mate. It's like a fucking world-renowned book.
Is it like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
Yeah, it's basically
everyone's
that.
read that on holiday, bar me.
It's basically that, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, it was saying this. Was it last night? The other night, and it said like Good Heart's Law says basically it's when a measurement becomes a target, it's no longer like it ceases to be a measurement. So it's no longer a good measurement because like you're not really using it as a measurement, you're using it as a target. Yeah. So like that relates to body weight quite a lot. If you're like obsessing about the target of a certain weight, you're not using it as its measurement. You're using it as a target.
You're using it as its objective, actual purpose.
It becomes more of an issue than it's worth.
That's actually
so Good Heart's Law. Yeah.
There we go, guys.
That's what reading does for you. Knowledge.
Expand knowledge.
And to be fair, mate,
sign up for coaching below.
I'm really enjoying it. Like so. Before, like me and Shannon, when we'd go to bed, we'd
shag.
We'd absolutely get down to it. You know? We'd like just put usually like recently anyway, we'd put Dragon's Den on, and like it'd be like 5 minutes where like I'd just fall asleep.
Me and tonight, you know, whenever like we've like ever had like an off-plan meal or something, and we're in a car, or like when I say off-plan, we had a meal together. We'd like I'd type in Dragon's Den on YouTube, and like it would be like you'd see a title like Dragons dislike edgy, like you'd be like, oh yeah,
Dragon's
Den
is good. No, we put it in on iPlayer, so we'd actually put like an episode on. But I fall asleep within 5 minutes. Like I have my blue light blockers on, and when I'm a bit like, as soon as I notice I'm tired, I just turn to this side, so the TV's over there, and I put the cover over me, so I can't hear it, I can't see it.
I can't sleep with anything like that. I have to have like, I wouldn't be able to sleep with a TV on.
Yeah, but it's like very low brightness, and I can't hear it. Like, and I've got my blue light blockers on, so the room is dark. Like, so it's fine. I was saying to Shannon, like, I wanna be able to read, but I don't have time in the day just with work. So
if it's a dark room, how do you read?
So I have
a little light,
a little duck light.
Okay, that's gonna ruin circadian rhythm.
Oh mate, it's really dull, and I have it right here.
Okay,
and I have my blue light blockers on while I'm reading. So the duck is called Finn the Duck.
Finn the Duck. Yeah.
So Shannon, literally, it's called Finn the Duck.
Okay.
So I had a few people send me it, like probably a year or more ago. Even AJ Morris sent me it, like tagged me it, because it was
AJ
like,
Morris
from Senor, from Rotherham,
from MBW Worldwide.
Yeah, AJ.
Wow.
Because it was like quite a people will probably have seen it. It's quite like it was like a well-known ad at the time on Instagram. It kept coming up.
Yeah, you've told me about it.
And Shannon bought me it.
Yeah.
So we have Finn the Duck, but we don't call it Finn the Duck. We just call it Ducky.
Oh.
So we put Ducky.
Cool. I think we call it Finn.
We
don't call it. We call it Finn.
Yeah, then there's me and the duck.
Yeah.
So we just put that on, and then I read and do like just 5 pages. It's good. Like,
Fair enough.
and then like I almost feel it kind of. I feel like it's productive. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm reading. Like I'm never gonna just read. Like I'll read something that I'm gonna get something out of it. You know what I mean? But then I'm going to bed, and I almost feel like the end of my day wasn't just like, oh, I just put the TV on and fell asleep to TV. I actually did something productive even when I'm going to bed.
I don't watch TV. I said the camera cut off, but I go on Reddit. I go on Reddit on my iPad, and I don't have any social media really like on there, like when it comes to Instagram or anything work related. And I literally just go through Reddit, like when it comes to like either news, like sport, gaming, anything that's like not bodybuilding and training related.
Not gonna ruin your sleep if you've got big bright light in front of you. Big iPad,
Yeah,
full brightness,
maximum brightness now.
Yeah, eyes wide open like this.
Mm.
You don't even have blue light blockers, and you call yourself a bodybuilder.
I know, I'm not good enough. I do have blue light blockers.
You only got an Oura ring recently as well.
I know, I'm clearly slacking. I'm just not on it with my
Weird.
routine.
No wonder you've got no muscle.
Well, no, it's just PDs. They cover it up. They cover up all my me.
If you didn't use PDs, you'd have only just started making progress because you've only recently got an Oura ring.
Yeah, the second you get an Oura ring, that's when you start to
make progress. Oura ring, by the way.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked for...
You told me about this, yeah. Battery's messed up, innit?
So the charger doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I keep wearing it because it's just habit.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the data on this in about 6 months.
That's not good.
That's why I've made no progress.
If you message them, they'll send you another one.
I'm doing it now. Well, I did it the other day.
Yeah.
I've still got to get back to him. But yeah, like I literally just kept putting it off. But mate, it was proper weird, right? They asked me, and I've done it. They asked me to send these like things. So it was like, can you just prove to us that the charger's not working?
Yeah.
They were like, first thing you need to do is show us you plugging in the charger. Yeah, like I had to send them 3 videos. Yeah. So I plugged in the charger, made sure it was plugged in. Like, cool, right, that's video number 1. Second video, right? Please put a USB like cable to the front of the charger. Yeah.
So it doesn't even relate.
Well, I was like, what?
And then was the third one like, please put it in front of your credit card. Make sure to get both front and back, and then if you can also have a photo of your passport as well, just to make sure it's you.
So it was like, put a USB in front of the charger, and obviously, so the charger is basically like a small thing, and the ring sits on it. Yeah. So I'm literally putting a USB. Obviously, the USB is not plugged in because you can't plug it in if you put it there. So me and Shannon were like, how on earth is this going to do anything? Apparently, it should make a light flash. Try it on yours at some point when you remember. Obviously, that didn't work. So we were like, what the fuck? And then the third one was put the ring on and see if the light comes on. Obviously, the light didn't come on.
Yeah.
There's other things where you like troubleshooting. You're supposed to like hit it. You keep it on its station, and you hit it like 5 times on a hard surface and see if it works. Still doesn't work. So like I tried loads of stuff and it doesn't work. But they're gonna sort me out. I just need to get round to it. They've asked me for some other stuff now. I think that's when they asked for the credit card.
Yeah, that's a credit card and passport, and then like social security number and all that sort of stuff. Get back to them. Yeah. So yeah, if FK Physiques goes under, Oura ring. That's what it is. So yeah, give us a prep update, mate. Where you're at? You dropped food today, didn't you?
Yeah, I dropped food today.
25 carb, 5 fat pulled off.
Yeah, rest days. Yeah. To be fair, like I would much rather take food from rest days. Like, you know, like clients. Yeah. I feel like clients always, not moan, but they always comment on rest days. And they're always like, oh, my rest day food, I'm hungry on a rest day at the end of the day.
But do you not think, and this is what I always think, like, it's because we're very busy on our rest days. So, like, I easily could, like, I've had 3 meals today. And because of what we're doing, like, I always get to the end of my rest days and I go, oh, I need to eat.
Yeah, same. I've got 2 more meals to get.
Yeah. But it's not like, to me, it's not where, like, I think it's because I'm busy. If I wasn't busy and I've got, training's a good appetite suppressant. But so like when you train, you're not obviously you couple of hours away from the gym. I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym doing a set, thinking, oh, I can't wait to have a post workout meal. No, so it's this appetite suppressant. It's also like a time like skip
capsule.
Yeah, it's a time capsule of not eating.
But I feel like our rest days are a time capsule.
Yeah,
these Thursdays go stupidly fast.
Oh mate, yeah, 100%.
But yeah, like so I pulled away 25 carbs and 5 fat from today, which was basically
1 meal, or was it like a collection?
So it was. I pulled out 50 grams of potato in total, so I have rather than 100 grams across 2 in each meal, so 200. I have 75 in each meal.
Okay.
And then my final meal, I pulled out 20 grams of rice.
You have 175 in each meal, you mean?
No, I have 75 in each meal.
Wait, you said you had 200 grams across.
Yeah, across 2 meals, 100 in each. now I have 75 in each, so I have 150. So
Makes
I pulled away
sense.
50.
Yeah, sound cool.
It's not a lot of potato.
No. But that's that.
But it's a small amount.
Yeah.
And then my final meal, I took out 20 grams of rice. So that was that. And I think that pulled down the fats by like 2-3 grams or something. But my fats were supposed to be 60, but they were on like 59.2.
So what's the macros?
And now it's like on a rest day, 240 protein, 175 carb, 55 fat.
Fair enough.
Training days are the same. They're at 255 protein, 460 carb, 50 fat. Yeah, I believe. Rest day steps 10,000. Training day steps 12,000.
You don't have your non-train day steps higher because of the availability of time.
No, I don't have any time. My rest days I have a lot less time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a lot less time, but on a training day, I'm obviously on my feet when I'm training.
Yeah.
On a rest day, I'm not on my feet as much.
It's funny. I find like the things that clients complain about, rest day steps, stuff like that. I find like also train day steps. I'm in the gym. I'm struggling. I find like training day steps so easy. I could do 15k plus steps. I have to actively be like stop moving.
The amount of times like recently that I'll get home and I want to go on a walk and I'm already on like 12,000, so I'm like, well, I'm going to go on a walk still because it's my routine, but it's just going to be a 2-minute walk.
I'm the same.
But yeah, that's that. Posing, I do 2 rounds on training days. Post workout, I'm starting to hold each pose for 5 seconds, so that ends up being about between like 7 and 8 minutes. It seems to be about that. By the time, like, it tends to be the video when I film it tends to be about 7-8 minutes.
Joys of men's physique. You hold a front and back shot, and then I do like a few rounds of PCA posing.
Posing is so easy for men's physique guys.
It is, it is. It's silly.
I can't imagine if I was men's physique guy, I don't think I'd ever get tired posing.
No, I know. The only thing I notice, I just get tight.
Calf cramp. Yeah,
calf cramp and tight, and then to be fair, cramp in a lot of places just because of holding the poses, but not. I don't get tired. Like I don't sweat. I don't ever finish posing. Go.
Do you think for 2 bros you have 2 poses?
Yeah,
that is mental.
It is. It's crazy.
In bodybuilding, we have 4 before we've even gone into the muscularity poses.
Then 8.
Front double, front lat, side chest, side tri, rear double, rear lat, abs and thigh, most muscular.
Yeah.
So we have 12 in total. Yeah. You have 2.
I know, it's crazy. You'd imagine it'd be brought up a bit. Like,
I think it's weird that 2 bros have 2 men's physique poses.
It is.
PCA physique pose, and I like.
I like some of them.
Yeah, I think these ones.
I think like if it was the quarter turns without the hand above waist,
and then just the front and rear double.
Yeah. I agree. I think
I'm pretty sure that is what it is for UKDFBA and WMBF.
UKDFBA leading from the front.
Yeah, they are.
Lee, you know what you're doing.
I entered the shows last night.
Oh yeah. Fair enough.
Well, I entered the UKDFBA, the WMBF, the BMBF. I've got to wait for my membership number.
Okay. Fair enough.
So it's real now. Prep's real.
You didn't put it on your story saying like locked in now, ready to focus.
In the shadows, aren't I?
Yeah.
You know, it's what I'm doing as well. I'm not posting any physique shots because I'm working in the shadows. But what I am doing is I'm posting them at the end of my slides.
I was going to say that
because they look like shit.
I'm working in the shadows, but in reality,
because I look
awful. So I'm posting them right at the end.
And maybe on my story if there's a half decent shot.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing. Nah, to be fair, I'll post them when I'm lean. I was speaking to Jack, JPMVMT.
Yeah.
I told you about it, I think. I might have done. But he was saying in his check-in, he was like, I don't really want to post anything. And I said to him, that's fair enough if that's your...
You don't have to. Like, it's not
it's completely
business,
up to that. But that being said, I said to him, like, because he wants to go down that route of PT and maybe in the future and coaching. I was like, do it. Like, I grew so much of the business from prep.
It's cool to have a look as a log.
You know, 100%. But also, mate, like, the amount of clients that have come to me who said, oh, yeah, mate, I followed you throughout your prep.
Yeah.
Like, even a year or 2 down the line, they'll go, oh, yeah, I followed you since your prep. And it's like, that often can be where people get to know you.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where they initially notice you and come across you. But also, like you say, like, business-wise, for yourself to look back, just memories, like... Yeah. I've got like videos from prep that like it's funny to look back at and it's pretty cool to look back at. Like,
I think it's one of them. Like I think I personally like I don't like when I look at like I don't ever really pay attention to like my social media, like my own page. But I don't like if I was to see my page. I prefer when I'm like somewhat in the middle of an off season where there's like a physique update every like 5 uploads, but the rest is just training. like, and it's like progressions. I personally, that's my favorite when it comes to not like social media, but because it becomes very much like just like a vanity contest. I saw Danny Howarth the other day. I told him off actually. He didn't say bye to me, which is a bit weird, but I went up to him. He was in the Iron Jungle. He was in the, yeah. He comes up to me, gives me a hug, and within the first like 5 seconds, bless him, he goes, "Reece, you're looking peeled. Let me see your abs." And I just laugh at him and go, "No, mate, I've literally just got to the gym. How you doing? How's training? You training well? Like, you competing soon, aren't you?" And he was like, he almost seemed surprised. And I said to him, I was like, "I've just walked into the gym, mate. I'm not going to be like, yeah, bro, check my abs out." But unfortunately, yeah, my abs are shit. To be fair, they're actually pretty good this time. My abs aren't actually shit. My abs are okay. But either way, when it comes to like, I think people see that, you see how you are on social media and think, "Oh yeah, it must be a bit of a vanity sort of contest." I post a physique update at this point pretty much every day.
Opposite of that.
Yeah, I like the training side of things. My ideal Instagram feed, if that sounds so cringy to say, but it is literally just training and then a physique update once every.
You could do that, you know.
I definitely could, but I don't make marketing, business, everything. It'd be naive and silly for me not to post photos. Like it'd be.
Depends.
Depends. It's not saying you need to. I'm not saying you need to. But then also as well, there's that level of kind of ego where my training's in a really good spot still, but it's not going to be the same as peak off season when you can add a couple of kilos here and get lifetime strength. Like I'm doing very similar load. I might get an extra rep. I might get an extra 2.5 kilos.
There's nothing as exciting to post.
Exactly.
Right?
And also, it annoys me so much the fact that when you are very, very lean, your sets have no way near the same level of like snappiness. And even though people would
grind
look at,
reps.
Like for example, the leg press video I uploaded the other day, I watched it and I was like, in an off season, I get that for 6 more reps. Like I get to the point where it gets hard, I brace, I pause, and I get another rep.
Yeah, I don't know. I get with that squat press, it's very hard in the short.
No, yeah, maybe not. Maybe 3 or 4. But like in the set, I said to Josh afterwards, like that got tough, and I had one more.
The best set he's ever seen.
No, I got tough, and I got one more. Where in an off season, it gets tough, you get 3 more, and then you get an assisted rep, and you're like, wow, what a set. So even though for other people you don't really notice it, you do yourself. So that's the reason why. But either way, social media.
I ruined AJ's session.
Yeah, you trained with him, didn't you? Or
I didn't train with him. I just asked him if he could give me a spot.
Okay.
And then I ruined his push session. Because he was just trying to give me a forced rep for about 30 seconds.
Oh, right. I didn't watch the set.
Felt like forever, mate.
Really?
Yeah. I failed it, but it was, I don't know how many seconds it was.
If I had spotted you, would you have got it up?
Probably not.
Really?
You'll have to watch it at some point when you've got time.
Yeah.
Maybe tonight when you're in bed.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about me.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good set, to be fair. But I felt bad.
It was a good set. My leg press. It was a good set.
I felt bad because I knew he was training push, and I was literally like, I didn't want to. He was like definitely giving it some towards the end, and I was like, I'm not ruining Senor Morris's push session. I can't do it to him. But no, he did give me a good spot. It was a good set. It was a great set. Go and watch it. Guys. It's on TikTok as well. I'm on TikTok now, guys. Mainly for the podcast, to be fair.
Yeah.
Somebody on the TikTok for the podcast, somebody commented. I told Sam earlier. They were like, first time coming across this. I've just followed on Spotify.
Oh, mint.
Speaking of Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the numbers here, look.
I haven't seen the numbers. What are they? We've got 209 subscribers on YouTube, and we've got 613. Is that?
That's followers.
613 followers.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That's quite good. I think I don't know metrics on Spotify, to be honest. I don't know what's good and what's bad, but I feel like 613 people following our podcast is
You said
cool.
about SDS, didn't you?
Yeah, but that's ratings.
Okay, what do they have ratings? They're like 2,000, didn't they?
I don't. Yeah,
and we had like
that.
300.
Yeah,
something.
I don't think they even had 2,000. I don't think they had as many as I expected them to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep giving us ratings as well, guys. We're above 300 now. We're still on 4.9, so can we get to 5-star? It would be nice if we could. But yeah, I think that's an update on both of us, prep-wise. Anything else we need to cover?
No, that's everything, to be fair.
Leveling up the podcast further. Going to get another camera.
Yeah, Sam's obviously here, like we said, so he's like, you need a third camera. Get a Canon G50? F50, M50, something 50. Yeah. So basically a business expense that me and Finn are going to go halves on.
And then what we're going to do, or what we're going to try and do, is have one main camera, and then we're going to have one that's on me and one that's on Reece.
Yes.
So that when we do the reels, they look a little bit more like quality. And on YouTube, as you'll maybe see, sometimes when it zooms in, the quality's not great. So
don't mention that, because now people are they're gonna look.
I think, mate, people can see like it just goes a bit blurry. Oh,
Yeah.
there's my phone.
Right, so, do you want to get into the questions, mate?
Yeah, we can get into questions.
Cool,
Did you
cool.
get many? I forgot to do a questions box.
Yeah, I got a fair few, actually.
We both forgot, didn't we?
Yeah, I put mine up, mate, 2 minutes after yours.
Did you? Did you see
I
mine?
literally refreshed Instagram and was like,
'Cause that's all you've been sat doing, just refreshing.
yeah, I don't even work on Thursdays. I refreshed Instagram and was like, oh yeah, I did a podcast today. Might as well put a question box up. And yeah, you guys delivered. You got some good questions in, which is by the looks of things. I haven't really checked actually. No, I haven't checked recently. Like I checked after like an hour and I was like, okay, cool, we got a fair few. So yeah, right. So I actually got a question by Tyler Ragg. I sent him a voice note because he DM'd it to me yesterday. So I've already answered the question, but he asked. I shouldn't say Tyler Ragg because he's using Clen. Oh, God,
Is he?
yeah, he asked about Clen cramp. So I answered his Clen situation. However, if this might be something that people struggle with, Clen, cramps, stuff like that.
You shouldn't be taking Clen.
Shouldn't be taking Clen.
It's bad for you.
Definitely shouldn't be taking Clen.
I put that on my story. I got asked about Clen the other day.
And you don't take
I
it.
thought Clen is bad.
Yeah, I think Clen's probably the most like overrated. Like
I'd say it's the
one that everyone talks about, and it's got such little benefit for the vast majority of situations.
I almost think, especially for, I don't know about this Tyler guy, to be honest, like, but I'm not saying about Tyler, about anybody.
Yeah.
If you're just taking Clen, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's so silly.
Like, there's other things you could be using.
Yeah.
That are going to be classed as a natural compound. Like, why would you take Clen? Like, when you could be using something like your Himbine, or you could be using caffeine, or you could just create a larger deficit.
Yeah.
But people just think, oh, Clen, I've heard about that. It's supposed to mean that I'll burn more calories.
And I mean, you can, but then I also question like the negative sides of, let's say, for example, just driving up neurostress, driving up your general sort of kind of, let's say, literally, it's a beta 2 agonist receptor. So if we're thinking about the mechanisms of how that works, the amount of, like, let's say, build up you're getting from it relative to calorie expenditure, for most situations, just pull away 60 calories and save yourself
Or have a bit more caffeine.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, literally, it's one of those sort of things. And like, I think in certain situations, aka a comp prep, when you're trying to, in an enhanced comp prep, and you're trying to leverage every, let's say, facet of fat loss possible relative to keeping calories as high, makes sense. But for a holiday,
it literally, in my opinion, only makes sense for somebody who is trying to be competitive at a high level.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at a decent level. Like, even if you're doing it at an amateur PCA show.
Yeah. No,
I don't think you should do it.
I don't think it's something that it's. But unfortunately, an amateur PCA. Yeah, okay. I'm going to drop out Clen. Clen's going.
You can use it for the second show, but that's more important.
Yeah, second show.
Use it for 1 week. Yeah, right use it when you need it.
Yeah, use it for 3 days. And the 3 days. Yeah, 3 days, and then I'm allowed to use it.
Did you tell him to have taurine and drink more water? And
so basically, hydration's the most important thing when it comes to Clen. It's also, as well, I said to him, make sure you're getting it from a reputable place. I took Malay Tiger Clen the first time I ever took it, and it was, I read about it because I got horrendous cramps. No matter what I did, I was cramping. And I actually researched it, and the studies for 40 micrograms of Clen that it's supposed to be, there was a lot that was 100 to 120 micrograms of Clen. Like, so it was like overdosed significantly. So if you've never used Clen before and you utilize a source that might not be 100% legit, you're going to get absolutely battered from it. And sometimes some people don't respond well to it. If you're a naturally sweatier individual, like stuff like that again can play a role. But overall, it's going to be hydration. So what I would say for most people, if we're utilising Clen, is upon wake, 500 ml to a litres worth of water, have some salt. That's just going to help you with from a sodium and electrolyte balance standpoint. I'd then crack on with your fasted cardio or steps or whatever. Taurine supplementation can be upon wake. I prefer taurine and potentially like a hydration supplement, Hydromax, the Conte Sports. What's the Conte Sports? Hydroflow, best in the game. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. To be fair, Snar's got it, and the panel's solid. As all the stuff that Jack Conte does. I saw him actually at Elite.
Oh, you're being nice.
Yeah,
now.
I saw him.
You're going back on what you just said. Yeah.
No, it's just everyone says it's the best, and it's good. We're
not taking the piss out of
Strom and Conte sports stuff is legit. Like, it is good. If you're going to get a hydration supplement, go to them. And pretty much, I'd say have that, and then just make sure you stay on top of your fluid. Like, it's going to be driving up your heart rate throughout the day. You're going to be sweating more. You're going to be excreting more bodily temperature. Your resting heart rate is going to get higher. So as a result of that alone, it's going to be a case where you're probably going to excrete water more often. Also, as well, sodium. So salt your meals.
You know what I'd say?
Yeah.
Surely, if you're taking Clen, you already know these things can occur.
I know, and this is
so you've almost just got to just suck it up and go, oh yeah, I'm probably going to get cramps.
I find this will be a segue, and this could be almost a separate part. And the amount of times that I'll have somebody mention to me, like, hey, mate, I'm taking this. Or, like, let's say it's a client who's coming on board and they've got their cycle from a previous coach or they've run something. Or they, let's say, for example, I tell them, right, let's take this, let's monitor this, let's go from there. And then if a side effect occurs, it almost seems like it's like almost like offensive. Like, oh my God, I'm having some like acne, or I'm potentially having some like estrogenic symptoms. And it's almost like a surprise.
Yeah.
And I find it almost like you can't go into taking performance enhancing drugs and expect it to be an easy, like,
People
oh
think
yeah, I'm
they're
going to have
immune.
no issues.
People think they're immune.
Yeah.
They think, oh yeah, I've heard about that, but it won't happen to me.
No.
It's like, well, it probably will. Like, it's likely that it can. Yeah, so you've got to be aware of it. And even if you're managing things as well as you possibly could, it still can happen. That's what a fucking side effect is.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how well you manage it, it doesn't mean you're immune to any side effects.
No. So, yeah, that's the Clen.
Yeah. Charlie W. Lifts. Thanks for the question, mate. What's been both of your proudest moments since coaching?
Oh, that's a good question. It sounds cliche, but I think like the position I'm in now, if I'm honest. Like when I look at it objectively, like I'm proud but never satisfied. But I am very proud of the.
Christian Guzman.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the situation I'm in. Like to be at a point where I'm at coaching, and then likewise translating to my own competing side of things and how I am in life. Like I'm proud of like how I am now, and I don't just have one key thing that I'm like, oh, I'm really proud of this. Like there's been wicked moments. I said this to Josh. I guarantee when Josh competes, that'll be an awesome day. Yeah. Like I look back at the day when we were in Manchester for Matthew, and you know when we were Jamie down Canal Street. Yeah, Noah. Like that was a wicked day. That was an awesome. Even though the Airbnb was dire, that was a really
people above us were dead loud.
So bad, awful Airbnb. But that was like a real nice weekend. That was probably one of my favourite weekends that I can remember. Like when I think of good weekends, I think of like that sort of weekend.
I think there's multiple proud moments, like clients winning shows, or clients even just competing, clients being at shows, like you say, show days, like they're always really fun, or doing a photo shoot with a client, or even just training with clients. Like
I remember the first time I posted a transformation photo on my page, I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. Mate, even like think about back in the day when you'd get your first paying client and stuff like that. You could argue that's like one of the most proudest moments, but it feels like forever ago. Yeah. But yeah, I think there isn't one that stands out. It's like, oh, I'm really proud of that. It's just, like I say, proud of the constant work ethic and drive and sort of basically what it takes to get to the point that we're at, because it's not easy. Like there's a lot of people that are trying to be coaches and a lot of people that are coaches, but like it's not easy to actually create a living from it and be at the level that we're at and enjoy it and be your own boss and create your own lifestyle based on how you want it. Like it's not easy. It's very sought after, and I think it's what a lot of people want to do, and it's great, and I think a lot of people should want to do it because you can, like, and I think there's a room for everybody to do it. You know what I mean? There's room for enough people. There's room for everyone at the top, bro. But like ultimately, the reason that we're where we're at is because we fucking work hard. Like it's not because we're loads smarter than someone else or we look loads better than someone else. Maybe that's why you're
maybe.
But ultimately, it's not like it's because we just work really, really hard and we're relentless at it. Like what you just said the other day. Oh yeah, I don't work Thursdays. Like that was a joke, but for most people, that's just a normal thing to say. Yeah. Like which is fine because most people work a 9 to 5 job or whatever. Like so they don't work a couple of days.
I had a client check in on Friday. Obviously Easter week, like bank holiday weekend, and he said he was like, I don't know if I should be checking in. Yeah. Like it's a bank holiday, mate. Like, and I literally was like, mate, I can't remember the last day I had off. Yeah, I can't remember that. Like Christmas, I still had check-ins come through. Did I get back to them? I got back to them the following day, but I still had WhatsApps. Yeah, I haven't turned my phone off. I haven't put my phone down for an hour or two that I can even remember. If there's a time that I go for a walk. Yeah, I work when I sleep. Yeah. Get up at 4 a.m. to just get back to clients. Yeah,
no, it's true though because like even time off, it's not off.
I went to Canada and for the first, so I'm there for 12 days, 4 hours in the morning. Every morning I was waking up early to get on with work. That's part of the process. That's what it's like.
When people go like, oh, like I want to get to that point. Great, but you got to be willing to do what you got to do. Like it's not easy. It doesn't just happen overnight. Like where we're at now is years and years of time and effort. Like you say, I can't think of the last day that I actually didn't do any kind
Yeah.
of work, whether that be getting back to a client, getting back to check-ins, whether that be doing form feedback, whether it even be posting on social media, something that's marketing basically.
Yeah, or video in a set. Like,
Mate, it must
even
be,
going to the gym and video in a session. Like,
if you think about
Yeah.
it like that, when
Yeah.
was the last time you didn't?
yeah,
It'd
no
be
chance.
years.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
multiple years.
Right, so Musa, he is going to be entering a prep soon, one of my clients. Really excited to see how he does. He has asked, habits you guys have picked up this prep, even if it's small day-to-day things compared to last prep.
I'm only
Yeah,
2.5 weeks in, mate. I'm not deep enough. To be fair, I could say
Reading.
I have reading, but I don't think that's based on prep, but reading. I've got an indoor treadmill, but again, I wouldn't say that's a habit. That's just because I knew that I needed to do more steps, so
Yeah.
it was a bit easier. I don't think I've got into any specific habits. I guess, to be fair, reading in bed, but I don't think I've not got into that because of prep. I've got into
Yeah.
that because it's something. Although you could argue that you have, because sometimes when you begin a prep, you've got that extra bit of oomph, that a bit of intent, that bit of
Yeah.
motivation. Like, I probably wouldn't have randomly thought peak off season I fancy reading, but although it was kind of based on the fact that I went on holiday and I was
Yeah.
reading and I wanted to read more,
Yeah.
so I guess that. But I'm only 2.5 weeks into prep.
Yeah. For me, it's hard to say like a direct answer like towards habits. I'm definitely sleeping earlier. That's for sure. That's just based off the fact that my sleep was like, my quality of sleep is not the best now, but my duration of sleep's okay. Where last prep it was sleep quality and duration. So getting to bed earlier intentionally, even if the sleep quality is not the best, because again you're going to feel a bit trashed regardless, but if you can get a little bit more sleep, it's probably not going to be a bad thing. And then other than that, I was doing my cardio my off season, I was doing it daily, I was doing my walks. It wasn't where like anything really changed significantly. So my habits, I mean, we could technically say, actually, for me, for example, we transitioned to training on 2 meals in the last like 4 to 5 months. So that's something actually we
Did
spoke
that
about
after Christmas.
Yeah, literally after Christmas, we both were training during the Christmas period on 2 meals, and we both were like, I actually think I prefer it. So we train now a good like hour and a half to 2 hours earlier, and it means that we get a bit more time in the evenings. We can get most of our work done in the mornings, and I think
Forces you to be more efficient in the morning as well.
yeah, exactly. Because before we were training at like 2:33.
3.
Yeah.
We usually 3, half 3.
Yeah, and it was like getting to the point where you can just be a bit slack, where if you've got, we've got to be at the gym at 1, you've got a lesser amount of time, and therefore you're just going to be a bit more on it with your work. So it means you have to be efficient in the morning. So yeah, it was, that's something that I guess we've kind of transitioned into, but that wasn't just prep, that was more so just lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think, if anything, like, this is what I've said to Musa before, like, in relation, this is what I say to a lot of prep clients, like, I think a lot of people overstate what a prep, like, the only, like, that's not changed because of prep, it's just changed due to our setup of life. Like, I think if you go into a prep and you're like, right, my habits are completely different, it's probably not going to be ideal. You want those habits to already be instilled, so it's just an easy transition. So I wouldn't be thinking like, oh, I'm prepping now, this has to change, that has to change.
That's what we've always said. Like,
Yeah.
you ultimately you should treat your off season like a prep, but with more food.
Yeah.
And when you've got more food, social events are easier. Going out for meals is easier to manage. You're maybe going to have an off-plan meal once a week or something like that. Like, but when a prep begins, it's the same. You're just eating less, and you maybe don't have that off-plan meal once a week. Like, it really is all it is.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, it obviously gets a bit more, not necessarily complex, but obviously you're going to be competing. You're going to be stepping on stage at the end, so it's a little bit different than just a normal diet. But other than that, if you've got the right kind of principles in place in an off-season, then a prep should be pretty smooth, really.
Yeah. Right. So most criminally overrated and underrated movements. So what's like just one flat out overrated, like something you're just like, why the hell are people doing this?
Single arm dumbbell row, a little bit overrated.
Yeah, I'd say
Deadlift, I think conventional deadlift's overrated
Yeah.
for a hypertrophy response anyway.
Yeah, I'd agree with them. Maybe like a barbell squat, but I think in the bodybuilding
Yeah, body row.
Yeah, and then underrated. What's an underrated movement? You think
45-degree body weight hyperextension.
no, I'm gonna go for a single arm like machine row or single arm cable row. Like I really
I don't
like
think they're underrated though.
No, but I think like a lot of like a nice
I've got a good one.
Okay, go for
Belt
it.
squat.
Yeah,
Belt squat is underrated massively.
that's actually quite a good shout.
You don't see many people using it. I think it's a very good
yeah,
machine.
yeah. That's a good one, mate. I'm impressed with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an underrated answer to a very, very good question about underrated exercises.
Have you seen, like, you know, the Club podcast?
Yeah, yeah.
They do underrated or overrated.
Yeah, yeah.
And every time they're like, oh, neither. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not the aim of the game.
Right, Keno Fitness.
Mate, am I not able to answer any of mine?
I don't think you had that many.
I've not got many, but I don't think you've got 100. Yeah, they're all going to be bot accounts.
Okay,
that
come
follow
on then.
you.
Carry on.
To be fair, I've already answered this one. This is from Owen.
So this is what Finn jumps in and says this, and then I've already answered this one.
No, we haven't really, but we kind of have.
This is a great podcast.
So,
guys. Please like and subscribe.
Hey, both you and Reece's example of a day in the life on a training day or a rest day. It's from my client Owen.
Well, we've got a rest day that's coming out soon.
Yeah, basically we've kind of explained it at the start.
Yeah.
So we get up, I get up, I go out on a walk, come back, do my cardio, do an indoor walk, then I'll go in the shower, then I'll have my meal 1, prep my food for the day, then I'll do my work, then I'll have meal 2, which is pre-workout, then I'll go train, then I'll have post-workout, then I'll do work in the evening, and I'll have my final meal, and I'll go to bed.
Wow.
And then rest day is very similar, but I don't go and train.
Yeah. Fair enough.
What about you?
Similar, but it's so similar, but I don't even want to go through it because it's like
It's the same, but like cardio and steps are in a different order.
Yeah, and I'd make my first meal the night before, and then I'd make my other meals after I eat my first meal. So yeah,
cool.
Sound. Moving on. Right. So we have, what is something you wish you knew when you first started BB?
Probably like the aspect of actually driving progressive overload within your training, like actually focusing on progressing the
quality,
actual sort of
not quantity,
tension through a muscle.
When I was like, oh, my chest is poor, I was just thinking, I'm just going to do, I'm going to do another set. I'm going to do another exercise. I'm just going to spend another half hour in the gym instead of actually thinking about the quality.
The importance of resting as well, because like back in the day, we just want to train and train and train and train. I think that's quite.
Yeah, rest. I also think as well, rest times in the actual set.
Yeah, you used to go, right, I need 30 seconds, then I'll go again, get a really good pump. Yeah, not obsessing over a pump as well.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty efficient that. Yeah. Do you want to go, mate?
Managing client training who have different availability to train each week, competitive. So basically, if somebody, let's say, is on shift patterns and they can't train the exact same days, the exact same each week, how would you manage it?
We've always said, like, you don't need to be bound to a 7-day rotation. Like, we run a 7-day rotation based off our work and how we have things set up. But I have plenty of clients that run a push-pull lower with 2 rest days per 5 days. And I say to them, be flexible. Like, you're more than welcome to run a push-pull lower, rest. You're more than welcome to run a pull, rest, push, lower, rest. Like, you're more than welcome to move things around. Like, it doesn't have to be set upon 7 days. And I think, like, if you were to look at it, if you were to train 1 week 5 times and then the following week 4 times and then back to 5, then maybe down to 4 for 2 weeks, over a 4-week block, 6-week block, 8-week block, there's not going to be a massive difference. The only issue is it can get to a point, and we've seen it firsthand, where people are a bit slack and they start to then place too many rest days and their routine gets thrown out of line, and then they go in and do 5 sessions on the trot because they're trying to play catch up. But the problem is like, for some people, that's how it, I'm not going to say how it needs to be, but if they're working night shifts and they're out of routine, there's always going to be those inconsistencies. And unfortunately, people have bigger things in life than just getting to the gym and eating their meals and getting to bed, which is, from a bodybuilding standpoint, not ideal. But if you apply effort and it's consistent, you're still going to be able to progress. So I really wouldn't stress too much about, let's say, what sort of split you need relative to, like, let's say, a setup. It was more so, what can you do and what can you keep consistent and what can you get better at?
I think the issue comes when they feel like they can't keep up with it, or they can't sort of basically pull,
they're playing like catch up all the time.
They've got to go, oh, well, I'm supposed to be doing 5 sessions this week, so I can't train Monday and Tuesday, so I'll just do 5 in a row. It's like, well, I'd actually rather you do 4 sessions and have a 4-day per week split, and that week be an 8-day cycle rather than a 7-day. And it literally just be like, you could have the sort of general consensus as like, right, okay, you basically don't have 2 rest days in a row. And as long as you can adhere to that, and if they can't adhere to that based on shift patterns, then you just discuss the shift patterns. Like, it's not a problem. Like, I have loads of different clients that work loads of different kind of shift patterns, and you just have to work around them. And ultimately, they know their routine best as well. So you kind of just say to them, right, this is your sort of, this is blueprint, what we're aiming for. Now you work around that based on that week, or that given rotation, that given mesocycle. You might have an individual who works three weeks of day shifts, then 1 week of night shifts. So every time you have those night shifts, it might be that we have a devolume week around it, or a deload around it, or we take out 2 sessions that week because they're trashed on the night shifts. Like, you just make it work based on that person. You don't just go, well, you've got 5 sessions, crack on. Like, you just make it work based on that individual, but you still have. I think what people then almost think that the answer is like, oh, just play it by ear and see what happens. That's not the answer, because then whenever you can't be arsed, you just won't train.
Yeah.
So you still need to have a structure, but it needs to be almost like a flexible structure around that schedule. It can't just be, oh, just train when you can, because a lot of the time you probably won't train, because you'll be times when you're really tired. The amount of times that we'll be tired that we still train because it's a training day. So you're still going to have some level of accountability, but you can't necessarily have all that. It's Tuesday, so I have to train, but you might be working a 14-hour shift that day. You physically can't get to the gym because it's closed. So it's like having a good level of accountability and structure without it being overly strict. It's like finding that balance.
Yeah, I agree. Keno Fitness, but I felt his name was, Keno. I thought his name was Keno. Ben Henson's training partner, coached by Tom. Do you know who he is? Yeah. I thought his name is it Keno.
I don't know who he is.
Keno Fit. You don't know who he is? Oh, that's a shame. He's asked, "What's the worst dining experience you've ever had at a meal?" Quite like that question. So for me, it was Chiquitos. 100%. It was awful. Post prep, it was like 2-3 weeks afterwards. And the reason why I say post prep is because post prep, your hunger sense started. Like
post prep, you just binged all the time.
No, you're just gonna literally. Me and Sanaya had we planned it out. Finn had hyped it up through the entirety of the prep. And we were like, no, Finn's hyped it up before. We're like, oh, Chiquito's awesome. It's really good. So we went there thinking, oh, yeah, this will be a nice meal. Nice, date night or whatever. I think we went bowling or something. Shout out Meridian
if you're listening,
Meridian. Yeah, Meridian in Rugby? No, not Rugby. Foss Park. Leicester. And pretty much we went there and it was absolutely shocking. Food was awful. The woman who served us, it was more so the service quality. We sat down. She didn't know at all what we were asking, because it was our first time. Like, oh, how big's this? What's this like? Nothing like at all that would take other than somebody to go, yeah, you might prefer this. Or okay, it's this big. She didn't have a clue. She had to ask her manager to ask how big the burritos are. I'm like, how are you working at a place? You don't know what the burritos
are. Might have been
like.
a first day as well.
No, but she was awful. She then goes to us. She was like, oh, do you want any sauces? And we were like, yeah. What sauces do you have? Because it's a Mexican place. They might not have the standard ketchup and mayo, and you don't want ketchup and mayo with a.
So yeah. Go on.
And she was like, oh, all the sauces, any sauce you want. And we were like, which is, and she was like,
we've got all the flavours.
Yeah, she was like, no, she genuinely didn't know. She had no idea. So we were like, what the hell? Well, our food then comes out, and it was I think it came out half hour afterwards. We were waiting around a good amount of time. And then she comes up to us 3 times while we're eating. And she's like, is there any chance you can pay now? Because the tills are closing in 15 minutes. We were like, yeah, we'll probably be done by then. We'll pay. And then she was like, okay, cool. And then she comes out, I actually need you to pay now. And we were like, okay, cool, we'll pay now. And then the card machine didn't work or something. She then comes back over another card machine while we're trying to eat. And then she comes over and goes, we're actually closing up a bit early. And we're like, Jesus, we're just trying to eat the meal. And the food was really average. It wasn't awful. It was just very mid. And we literally were like, this is the work. We paid. We didn't even feel like we relaxed and enjoyed a meal. The food was rushed, but it was took its time. And it was just an awful experience. So that's the first one that pops up in my head. But I probably had worse, but that wasn't good. We literally finished, and I sent Finn a voice note, and I was like, mate, Chiquito's awful.
Yeah, but that's that experience. It's not the food. If you'd have gone at 7 p.m. and you'd got a good waitress, you'd have probably been like, oh, it was really nice.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say my worst one was Frankie and Benny's.
Yeah.
So back in the day, there was a Frankie and Benny's in Scunthorpe, it was about 20 minutes from where I used to live, and it was it was banging. You'd go Frankie and Benny's for your birthday, your 14th birthday, it was Frankie and Benny's, and you'd get penne arrabbiata or whatever.
Frankie and Benny's was elite back in the day.
Yeah, it used to be elite. Incredible.
Yeah,
I'm sure people will know.
Top tier. It was the place to be. I used to go every birthday. It was renowned. You go to Frankie and Benny's.
It was fantastic.
It has fallen off a cliff. We need to think of an analogy.
This is my
Mate, you're so rude. It is ridiculous. Your prep's getting hard. That 25 card.
Mate, I'm rude. I'm telling my story about Frankie and Benny's.
Carry on, mate.
You're jumping down my throat.
Being a bit rude, you are. Come on, carry on.
Anyway, I used to love Frankie and Benny's, as Reece did, because he just rudely interrupted me and jumped in about how much he loved it. So yeah, we both used to love Frankie and Benny's, all right? We don't need a competition of who liked it more. We both liked Frankie and Benny's.
It's a podcast, we're talking.
We both like Frankie and Benny's.
Carry on.
So anyway, me and Shannon went to IKEA probably 2 years ago. I think it was maybe before lockdown, actually. And there's a Frankie and Benny's like on the complex, and we were like, oh yeah, we'll go Frankie and Benny's. Like, it's pretty good food. And we went, and it was literally like the worst meal I've ever had. I don't know what changed, but everybody says the same that I spoke to since, and it was literally just like a tiny chicken breast. Yeah. Like I got whatever chicken meal, and it was like a tiny chicken breast, and like some peas and like some shit. Like, it was like a kid's meal. And it was like £14, and it, like, if I'd have paid like £3.99 for it, I'd have been like, yeah, fair enough. But it was like 14 quid, and it was honestly horrendous. Like, the music was awful. It was just like, what the fuck has happened? Like, I remember it used to be like quite nice Italian music.
It was nicely lit.
It was just like,
I used to go all the time, and
like,
I remember I went
horrendous.
like a few years back, probably like 2018, 19. And I was like, that was awful. And then I went again, like maybe a couple months after, and I was like, oh, it's really bad. Like,
they must
really
have had
bad.
somebody like take over. Maybe Frankie and Benny got kicked out, and
Frank and Ben, big Frank and
they got kicked out and got a big takeover from Qatar or something like that. And then all they focused on was profit.
I'd say another one actually. I had food at the Selfridges, like Topper Selfridges in London. So like it was like a rooftop bar, like, and it was when I was in London in December. And it was freezing cold, like freezing cold, and it was like, there was no insulation, and like it was like you had to have a certain amount of like bowls and stuff. It was like a pick your own food, and everything was just coaked in oil, and it was just awful.
Oh, to be fair, one more. We'll move on from this question in a minute. Yeah. I'll tell you about that tapas restaurant in Budapest.
I think so.
So we were in Budapest, me and Shannon, like last year, and we went on TripAdvisor, and we're like, right, we'll go somewhere like high on the TripAdvisor. We were like in the centre, and we were like, we'll find somewhere. And this tapas place came up, and it was like 11 on TripAdvisor, and it was like there was hundreds on there, so it was like, that's pretty high. Yeah. And we were like, oh, tapas sound, like you get loads of different stuff to choose from. That's pretty cool. Tapas. It's just like different little bits of food. So we're like, yeah, that'll be spot on. We went, and it was literally like the worst meal I've ever had. Like, they tried to keep you in there for ages. We were in there for like 3 hours trying to escape for like the last 2. We ordered 10 dishes, and the guy was like, oh no, you should order this, it says trust the chef. You should order this, you should order this, that he'll get you what you want. And we were like, well, we don't want that, and we're actually going to pay you more because we're going to choose all these other things. Because like Shannon's quite picky with food. I don't want something that I don't want, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to trust the chef and then give me whatever. I want to choose what I want. So we chose what we wanted, and the guy was like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. And then he was like, because you've ordered 10, I'll bring it out as like 3-3-4 or 4-3-3. 4-3-3. Play a 4-3-3. I was like, yes, I. So he did that, but like he brought out 4, and then like we'd finished, and then it took like half an hour to bring out the next 3.
That's one pet peeve I have.
And then like another half an hour, and the next 3. So like we
they
were
want,
like,
they want you to have drinks and stuff like that.
But we thought that sounds good because then the table won't be cramped with loads of dishes. So we're like, yeah, sound. But then we were literally there for like 3 hours, and the guy was he's such a salesman. But it was like doing the opposite. Like, I hate people that are overly salesy. And he was trying to sell us this drink and that drink, and we were like, mate, just fucking get us the food. Obviously, we didn't say that. Yeah. But like some of the food was awful as well. Like we probably ate like a quarter of it. Like, it was really bad. But there was one good thing at the end. He gave us some free ice cream, which he gave to everybody, because he was like going around to every table like, oh, this is on us. And it's like, yeah, mate, you're fucking doing it to everyone. We're not special. It's pistachio ice cream, and he was like, this is the best ice cream you ever had. And we were like, yeah, right, this place is shit. And to be fair, it was fucking mint. The ice cream was amazing. So the ice cream kind of savoured it. And also the memories, because me and Shannon like laugh about it.
The memories. So what, you got memories over?
Memories. No, that day was tapas over memories. Oh, okay. No, memories over tapas.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what it was. But either way...
You wouldn't have known the macros, would you?
Nah, the macros weren't on the menu.
So memories.
It was memories that day. I was on holiday, though.
So memories already. That's guaranteed memories. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, right. So Mutant Cow has asked, and I've got to be honest, Mutant Cow. He's DM'd me a few times. Mutant Cow. Every time I've had a refeed, he's messaged me about a refeed, and he's asked when to take a refeed during a cut. Once a week I see is popular, a 1% body weight drop. And on Sunday when I did my rest day questions, he asked like 3 or 4 questions. Like, Mutant Cow, no issue at all. You're a mutant. And to be fair, he actually looks really good. So you do look good. But this is something that is very much...
We did do a full podcast on refeeds and deloads and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe we kind of explained it in there.
But to summarise, it's very much person dependent and data dependent. Most people don't need to refeed. Most people just need to get leaner. And as a result of that, you don't need to refeed. In my blast prep, I didn't refeed at all until the back end when it was filling up. In my tidy up last year for my holiday, where I pulled off 20 kilos, I didn't refeed once. I didn't need to. Like, it's going to be one of those where if training performance is sound and you feel good, don't refeed. You don't need to. If training performance drops off, diet fatigue gets too high, you're to a point where you need to assess data, cool, refeed. So I wouldn't say you need to refeed once a week or whatever. Play around with it. Like having doubling up your carbs on a training day for 2 days isn't going to be causing a massive shift of weight gain.
I'd actually say there's never an actual sort of quantitative amount of like weight that you've lost or percent that you're losing at or time out from a show that that's when you need to refeed.
No.
It's based on performance, based on fatigue, based on the look. So it's difficult to say. It's not like, oh, well, if you're losing X amount by this point, like you should refeed. Like there isn't a written rule for it.
Yeah, I agree. So just if it's one of those where this is when, if you have a coach, obviously I'd imagine your coach would probably tell you. Yeah, if you have a coach, then I'm guessing your coach will probably tell you. But if you don't have a coach, just assess data, see how things are. And if you're dieting and you don't have a direct date, put in a refeed and see how you respond, and just assess that data. And I doubt you're going to be taking
if
these
you
steps
want
backwards.
to use them, just make sure you're ahead. Make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time. Don't be using them if you've like got 4 weeks left and you're still really fat.
Yeah,
like if you're quite,
that's what I said.
if you're
in a
good
good
spot
to.
and you're ahead, then cool. Right, let's smash through the rest.
Cool. I've not got many more.
This is from Matty. I don't actually know. He's my client, Matty Kraugzik. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Let me know.
Kraugzik.
It's like Kraugzik. Yeah. What's more important within nutrition, hitting macro goals or the quality of food you eat? It's a good question, but it also
because you could skew it and go, well, if you're hitting your macro, it's.
I think if you think about
you
it,
hit your macro goals through ice cream and stuff like that.
If
Poor quality.
If you think about it, you could go about it in two ways. So the first way would be, imagine if you were to hit your macros with horrendous food, like which you could do. It'd be unlikely because you'd probably go way over your fats, but you could probably do that. You could probably still hit your macros with probably relatively poor quality food. But it's going to be difficult if you've got, like, let's say a high protein, high carb, low fat diet. It's going to be quite difficult to have awful food.
Yeah.
But then also the second one would be like, if you're nowhere near your macros but you're having amazing quality food. Let's say you've had a full day of eating let's say like loads of salmon. You've had
olive oil.
Yeah, loads of olive oil, loads of like you've had a Mediterranean diet, and you've hit 40 grams of protein. And to be fair, you'd probably hit more.
Full fat beef mince.
Let's say you had some grass fed beef. You've hit like 200 grams of fat.
Avocado and whole eggs.
Yeah, 200 grams of fat. You've hit like 100 grams of protein, and like let's say maybe
250 carbs.
Yeah, something like that. That's probably not going to be the most beneficial when it comes to performance or improving the look. So I would say it's difficult. I wish it wasn't questioned in that way of like one or the other, because I would say both, obviously. But if it was me, I would rather hit my macros,
I would,
however possible, than be nowhere near my macros. I'm thinking of it in like on a larger scale. Yeah. So if it's like if it's going to be one or the other, if I'm nowhere near my macros but the food's good quality, I'd rather be hitting my macros even if the food's not the best. Yeah, because you're going to struggle to have horrendous food and still hit your macros.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good answer. How to keep my insulin resistance high? Which that doesn't make sense.
GDA.
Yeah, no. How to keep my insulin resistance high while eating 4,500 calories a day? So first, you don't want your insulin resistance high. Like you want your insulin resistance in a good spot.
I want it high.
Yeah, I want to be insulin resistant. I don't want to be utilising like nutrients at all. I just want it literally to be shunted straight to fat gain. Yeah, and then he's gone on to ask 3 big meals or 5 to 6 medium meals a day. This isn't really going to make much of a massive difference in the sense of actual meals. It's going to be calories. It's going to be making sure to keep moving, making sure to, let's say, actually demand the level of food. Like if you're just piling in food and your digestion's poor and that's 3 big meals or 6 meals constantly, you're just kind of ploughing in, you're not moving after your meals, you're not training hard, you're not creating that carbohydrate demand for them, congrats. Yeah, your insulin sensitivity is not going to be too good probably as a result of that. But then also as well, like duration is going to be something that's important, and most likely body composition. So I would, if anything, say if you're lean, like you can have a lot of food and your insulin sensitivity is going to be pretty okay. So it's one of those sort of things where I really wouldn't stress out. I'd be thinking, right, what suits you in your daily setup? Ideally, I'd say 4 to 5 meals. I'd be saying that's probably a good ballpark for most people. I would say when it comes to making sure to keep some baseline cardio in there, making sure we're moving after meals, especially our bigger meals, making sure we're placing the large bolus of our carbohydrates in and around the workout window, so pre and post, probably more specifically post in a gaining phase, and just making sure that you're eating clever and good food choices that digest well and don't get too fat. So
Yeah, and even like keep your stress levels low.
Yeah.
Make sure you're getting a good amount of sleep because they're going to play a role as well. You could potentially look at tracking blood glucose just to keep an eye on it. It's not going to be a direct reading of it, but it's going to give you a good indication of how well you're utilizing food, how well you're managing stress. Those kind of things are going to probably give you a good indicator as to how well you're actually utilizing your food.
Yeah.
So that, but obviously everything else Reece said. Sorry, mate, I was messaging somebody, which was rude of me, but it was basically somebody asked some questions on DM, but it was like 3 or 4 questions. So I've just messaged him saying, remind me next week because we're done.
Cool. Are we done?
We're done. Yeah.
We're done. Right. That's that. Finn said we're done. We're done.
We're done.
We're done.
Once you're done, you're done.
Once you're done, you're done. Once you're in, you're in. That's the podcast, guys. Episode 93. We do believe. Like I said, now we're going to have it on Spotify, so we're going to know because Sam is going to be getting on that. So, yeah, invoice going up. That's what we're going to get for. Invoice is going up. Therefore, guys, please subscribe. Please share. We need it. That'll be the podcast. Story tags is always welcomed. Everything like that means a lot. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. See you later.